Hello everyone, and welcome back to a Let's Play. Not even really a Let's Play. Let's discuss Tales of Arise. So, again, sorry for the slight delay. I want to get more episodes out, but I've been recovering from the flu. Mostly okay again. I just have to be careful talking too much, or I just go into a coughing fit, and that's a problem. But if you remember the last time that we did this, the last time that we were talking about Tales of Arise, it was actually like right before we fought Almadria, and that's what made me say, you know what, I'm not going to do it every 10 episodes anymore. I'm going to wait and actually, wait until there's an actual like logical place to stop, which is why we're now talking about this immediately after we got finished through fighting, oh dang, what is his name? Voldroth? Volomir? Really should have looked this before. Oh well. However, like I said, the last time we did this was right before we fought Almadria. And fighting Almadria, like, fighting Almadria is a very, very interesting and a very, very, like, let me first of all just talk about how Almadria looks. I hate her design. I hate the way she ends up looking. Picture. So she's got this, like, weird, it almost looks like she's going for a, like, Two-Face style. Because, like, one half of her is just this, like, long sequenced, like, gold-tinted, dress. It's very, very formal. And the other half is, like, this, like, black lace, half, like, barely covering her dress. And then just, like, her stomach and her one arm is just exposed, which obviously I'm not a prude. I do not mind the fact that you have, like, characters that are somewhat exposed, but it's just the overall aesthetic. It feels like they're trying to go for a alluring, but also refined, and I'm just like, just make two characters or something. It just does not work for me. And then also, the issue that I have with Almadria is that I have no fucking clue what Almadria's actual, like, goal was, what her actual design or desires were. So, like, this actually goes back to, Elda Manasia, where we had the, pseudo-actual boss of Elda Manasia, which was Dolahim's, like, advisor, that had the, Lake of Chi underneath the, capital. What was he using it for? As far as I know, it was feeding into the Master Core. And then he, like, ran off towards Almadria's territory. But then I'm pretty sure we never, like, found him again. And now we've been through, Volheim's, and we haven't found him either. Like, I have no idea where this dude went. And it definitely feels like the game kind of forgot about him, which is a bit, frustrating. And then you have Lord Almadria, who had this whole, like, it definitely felt like you had a, like, I'm sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought here. You went in and, like, her castle gotten blown up and she was on the run, and then she showed back up, which was cool, I guess. And she had been feeding them the fruit of Helgen that she apparently got from the other guy, despite the fact we never saw any sign of him. And so right as soon as they started, somehow she was able to figure it out. As soon as they got their emotions up, they would just immediately, like, collapse into puddles. But then she didn't, like, they just fell into puddles and then she left. So I don't know what, it's not like the essence that they collapsed into helped her in any meaningful way. So that didn't actually help her at all. And she got on her boat and we chased her. And then we fought her at the end of the boat. Like, I still don't understand what her plan was. From what I get, she was making, like, an end run on the crown contest. But it was, like, a really shitty end run because she wasn't getting anything out of the Fruit of Helgen that I could tell. And she just sort of, like, I almost feel like she lost her capital to an uprising and then she just fucked off. So, I'm very, very, very confused about Lady Almadria. And then her death ended up being a second, like, introduction to Volron. And Volron just brooks no bullshit. And decent introduction. I mean, I do have to say that Volron, I end up is a much more memorable character and a lot cooler of a character than Almadria. Almadria ends up just like second to Ballsack in terms of forgetfulness. I have no real understanding of who she's supposed to be, and she's not going to stay with me in any length. I'm kind of surprised I even still remember her name. But then Volron, I've got to say Volron, I was really into his introduction. First of all, the idea of him being the Sovereign and Alphen also being a Sovereign was a cool thing. I wish they'd done more with that. We still don't actually know what is meant by being the Sovereign, because the Crown Contest is supposed to make someone the Sovereign, and I thought that Volron had won the Crown Contest, but then he's also still competing in it, so that's weird. And the duel between him and Alphen putting the burning sword into him, and just leaving this, like, flaming hole in his side. Like, Volron was probably the best of them. Primarily because we, like, ran into him very early on. I think we ran into him 3 times in this series before we fought him. We ran into him, first of all, in the second area, where we just kind of came across a Zulgul, like, battleground, where he had just killed off a ton of them, and we saw him, but he didn't actually fight us. And then in Elda Manatia, going into the 4th area, we actually fought him. He came, and we were able to put him off, but just barely. And then he showed up on Almadria's ship and just, like, executed her. And then we finally fought him, and then the city did just absolute control that he put out there was just great. I'm sorry, I realize I'm not making a lot of, like, super in-depth value assessments here, but having come from Almadria and having come from any era where she is just barely clinging on to control, like, you started off with Ballsack. It was just this super, like, okay, people work in the mine, and I have enforcers. And then you have the, like, control by fear that, Ganabelt is using. Then you had, Dolhalim, who was just like, I don't actually want to rule anyone. And so he just kind of gave freedom to everyone, or as close to freedom as he could. And then you have, like, the incompetent ruler in Almadria. And finally, you get to Volron. And Volron is just the absolute perfection of control. He does not really need enforcers. His guards are for show more than anything. Just the entire city is eager and excited to serve him. So that's kind of what we end up on. As we finish what is either the first or the second act, I'm not really sure what to call it. As we finish the Dana arc is what I'm going to call it, then we can kind of end up. I still am frustrated that Shion has had no real development whatsoever. Her best moment was in trying to counsel Bridwell on how to have something to live for rather than just something to die for. But she really does not, like, I don't know who she is. She is the most nothing character in the piece. Even, Alphen has had a bit more revelation come out from him. A little bit more from his background. We're starting to understand him a bit more. I still don't really like Alphen. He's still just a little bit too generic hero dude. But at least he has a history. And I don't really know who Shion is supposed to be. I also have to say that I don't know Kisara. Like, I don't know why Kisara is in this group. She mostly just seems to be babysitting everyone else, and I almost feel like she's packing, like, box lunches for us. But, like, overall, it almost feels like she just doesn't want to let Dolim wander away. She's afraid he'll never come back. she doesn't really seem to have a lot of her own agency in the plot. Rinwell and Law are the best two characters. I adore them. Very, very, very happy. And I am interested to know what's going to happen. Like, I definitely feel like we're either going to go to Linnaeus or Rena itself. I'm not sure which. And we'll have to deal with the, like, the red woman from Nier Automata. Who, I'm sorry, looks way, way, way too much like that character. I don't understand why you would make it that similar to such a well-established character. But granted, like, that's just someone I know very well. It's possible that that's not as well known, the Little Red Queen. But I'm very interested in where that goes. The fact that she activated when all the Master Cores were brought together makes me think that she's actually just like a program that's going to take all of the power assembled during the Crown Game and take it up to Linnaeus or Rena, and we'll have to chase it down. So that's kind of what I expect to happen in the near future. Other than that, I am looking forward. I definitely feel like we are in like the last hurrah. I don't know how much left there is left in the game, but it doesn't feel like all that terribly much. So I will see you guys in the next one. Looking forward to what we can see coming out of it. I don't know who is going to be our real opponent at this point. I almost expected it to be Volron, for like Volron not to actually die there, but he definitely seemed to die. And I don't feel like it's the Red Queen. So, we'll find out in just a second. I'll see you next time, and be awesome.